What, our Maisie getting too posh for the likes of us? Never, he said, raising his hand to wave goodbye to some of the other people leaving the hall. She's the salt of the earth. Nothing will change her, even if she does have big plans for the future. So you do know what she's up to, Sarah said, looking triumphant. I'm sure she will tell you when she's ready. It's not for me to say, George said, giving Alan a wink. But we've never had secrets from each other, Sarah said, a little sadly. Alan put his arm round her shoulders and gave her a squeeze. Don't go getting yourself upset. You've been friends with Maisie far too long for that. She will tell you in her own good time, I'm sure. She might not drop her ages as much, now that she dresses the important women of Erith, but she's still the Maisie we know and love. Now, how about we take a brisk walk round to the Prince of Wales and have that drink? What do you say to that, George? I say it's a good idea. I just need to say goodbye to somebody, then I'll be with you. By the way, did you spot Betty and Douglas over there? Looks as though they're making their way towards the door. Sarah stood on tiptoe, scanning the crowd until she spotted the Woolworths manageress, Betty Billington. Catching her eye, she waved energetically. Betty was dressed in a pillar-box red coat with black accessories, her salt and pepper hair pinned back in a French pleat. She waved back, working her way across the crowded hall towards them with her husband Douglas not far behind. That was a good evening, Norman, George said, turning towards a man in a black overcoat and trilby hat who was escorting the speaker and a small entourage towards the exit. George, I thought I spotted you in the front row. Let me introduce you to our prospective Member of Parliament, Norman Dodd said, turning to the smartly dressed young woman beside him. Margaret, this is one of our local councillors, George Castleton, and his daughter and son-in-law. Alan runs a business in the town, and, he added, as Betty and Douglas joined them, here are Mr. and Mrs. Billington. Douglas is a funeral director, and Betty runs a branch of Woolworths, as well as looking after their young family. Margaret Roberts shook hands with everyone. You have an enterprising group of friends, Norman, she smiled. I congratulate you all for helping to rebuild productivity in this town. It's you we ought to be thanking, Betty Billington said to the prospective Member of Parliament. You are showing the way forward for young women to be able to further their education and speak for all of us in the Houses of Parliament. Margaret Roberts gave her thanks before Norman led the little group towards the exit. Come on, let's go get that drink, Alan said. He turned to the Billingtons. You will join us, won't you? Do you need to ask? Douglas Billington said. That's the joy of having a housekeeper who lives in. It doesn't matter if we're a little late home. They left Electricity House, shivering as they stepped out into the cold night air. Betty took a deep breath. Ah, that's much better. I must say it was a little foggy in there, with so much cigarette smoke. And so many smelly bodies, Alan chuckled. Sarah tutted. You shouldn't say such things, my love. Many of those people must have come straight from work. I'm just pleased we had a good turnout and were able to listen to the people who will represent Dartford and Erith in the elections. I know who will be receiving my cross on the ballot paper. Alan? Alan had stopped to gaze into the showroom windows that looked out over Pier Road. That's the business to be in, he said, nodding to the display of wireless sets arranged around a television with a polished wood cabinet. That's the future, right there in that display. Sarah tugged his arm. Hurry up, dreamer. The future is in our children, not a shop window full of electrical nonsense. Look, there are some empty seats over by the fire, Sarah said, as they stepped into the crowded public bar of the Prince of Wales. She and Betty made their way quickly over to claim the spot, while their husbands headed towards the bar. That was handy, Betty said, unbuttoning her coat and pulling off the scarf she tied over her hair for the short walk. I pray spring isn't far away. I'm sick to death of these cold, drizzly days. I know what you mean. I'm having a devil of a job keeping the children's clothes clean. I'm forever scrubbing mud out of Buster's shorts. Goodness knows where he finds it all, when he's usually playing with Georgina. Somehow she seems to keep twice as clean as her little brother. Betty flinched. Still, after all the...